Good afternoon, gardeners. It's Sunday, February 21st, and we finally have a sunny day here on the southeastern coast of North Carolina. And today I want to show you the one tool that I think every single gardener should have in their arsenal, and that is a greenhouse of some sort. Now, I know what you're thinking. Greenhouses are expensive and they take up a lot of room. Well, I'm here to tell you that's not actually true. I've been using these pop-up greenhouses for 4 years and they only cost around $70 or so. They're very inexpensive and they are absolutely critical for me for starting seeds and cuttings and things like that and giving them a huge boost in the late winter, early spring, and it really gets me ahead of schedule for gardening, especially when we have bad winters like this that are cold and cloudy. Now, for those of us in North America and Europe, we have a problem when it comes to starting seeds and cuttings and other things in the winter, and that is our climates tend to lack heat unless you're very far in southern latitudes where we can't really bring our things outside in the natural sunlight in order for them to take off and grow at a great pace. And this makes us resort to things like setting up shelving and use fluorescent lights or blue and red LEDs to set up grow light stations in our home. And they can be expensive, they can take up a lot of room, they can be pretty cumbersome, and the problem with them are when you bring out grow light started transplants outdoors, the UV light of the sun will it'll scorch them. It'll kill the plants unless you slowly acclimate them, because the sun is full spectrum light, whereas fluorescent and LED light is not. So the acclimation process can be dangerous, it can be time consuming, and it's just a brutal process in my opinion, messing around with lights. These greenhouses completely take that out of the equation, because even if you live in a place where it doesn't get above freezing during the day, inside this greenhouse right here, it will. It will get quite hot in here because it concentrates the heat from the sun. And you will get all of the benefits of the indoor grow station in terms of getting your seedlings off in a warm area, get them growing really quickly, but you'll also get the added benefit of the full true spectrum of the sun, so you won't have to acclimate things like you'll have to acclimate them indoors. It is true that greenhouse fabric and plastic does block some of the UV rays, so you still need to acclimate your plants a little bit, but the process isn't nearly as intricate. Also, the initial $70 or $80 investment for these pop-up grow greenhouses, it's nothing compared to what you would spend on bulbs and shelving and your electric bills, so it's a real money saver as well. Before I get too far into this video, I just want to let you know that I purchased this greenhouse off of Amazon. If you're curious where I found it, it is linked in my Amazon storefront in the video description, and this model has held up for me beautifully over 2 seasons. There are a couple other of this lean-to style to pick from, but this will point you in the right direction if you check the Amazon storefront link. And I will also link to it the square style, which I've used in the past. If you live in an environment that doesn't see a lot of wind, that may be a good option for you as well. So I've tried a couple of different models of these pop-up greenhouses, and I've used the box style ones that you just put out in the middle of your yard, and I didn't like them as much because they were a magnet for the wind, because they were so square. And I live in a pretty windy climate, and I imagine a lot of you may as well. These lean-to style greenhouses are great because the design completely sheds the wind because it's circular on the exposed face, and the other face goes right up against your home, so you get really great protection from your home. There's nowhere, obviously, for the air to come from this side. So these are very resilient and very resistant to the wind. So even if you live in a windy place, these should hold up for you pretty well. The other amazing thing is you don't really need much of a yard at all. All you have to do is erect these against your southern exposure, and this landscaping bed that this greenhouse is in is 4 feet wide, where you see all of the tan cypress wood chips, and as you can see, it comfortably fits in that little 4 foot wide section easily. This is probably only about a 3 foot wide greenhouse, which is about 1 meter roughly. So you don't need a yard for this. It goes right up against your house. You could have a townhome. You could be in an HOA with virtually no yard at all, and this will fit just perfectly. And I absolutely love this. This is one of my secrets every single year for getting my seedlings off to a rapid start, and it's how I get my tomatoes and peppers so early. Now I want to take you inside just to show you what kind of room we're dealing with. So right here is the pop-up greenhouse door. There's a door on each side, and the doors have a little zipper on it. So all you need to do is you need to unzip this door, and this is the kind of space that we're dealing with in here. Now, I wanted to be prepared, and I put my wireless weather station thermometer in here. And as you can see, it is 86.9 degrees in here right now. So basically 87 degrees, which is very warm considering it is only 44 degrees outside. And I have the little window open in here, and I had the door cracked as well. So it will easily get over 100 degrees here if you have it enclosed, even on a 40-degree day. So pretty amazing heat retention. In here, I have all of my early tomato seedlings. You can see them here and here, and even more tomato seedlings here. And then I have some strawberry roots. They're all growing on there. I have some basil and purple basil, which has just started. Here I have my cold crops. You don't want to germinate the cold crops in a hot environment, but once they germinate, the extra heat will have them coming along much more quickly. So I have green and red cabbage, I have broccoli, I have Swiss chard, I have multiple kinds of lettuces, spinach. And then over here, I have my peppers that are germinating in peat pellets, as well as a few more additional tomatoes that I will start in a later crop. And I still have plenty of shelving space up here. Now, the one thing that I have learned is the stakes that come with these greenhouses are absolute junk. So what I do is I buy a few bags of mulch or compost. They're only $2 or $3 a bag, and I put one on all four corners, and that holds the greenhouse down in case we get any wind gusts. I recommend using them as weights to hold everything down. But as you can see, it's a pretty generously sized space. Considering it's one of the smallest models that you can get. You can get a much larger than this, but I don't need a very large one. It only takes about 45 minutes to put together. I put it together today, actually, and it's only been up for a few hours. And then come end of March, I take this down because generally, once April rolls around, the day and nighttime temperatures are sufficiently warm enough that I can just start all of my seeds outside, and I don't need the added heat of this greenhouse. So it's a temporary thing. It takes no time at all to put up, and it will last years for you for a very inexpensive price. So right now we're in the back half of February, and here on the southeastern coast of North Carolina, we are still subject to hard frosts and freezes at this time of year. They're becoming less and less frequent, but they're still happening 1 or 2 times a week. So what I do is, if I see that the low temperature is forecast to be 40 degrees or less, I carry in my plants and I put them in the garage, because this isn't going to provide much insulative protection at night. It works great during the day, but it's not going to hold heat over the entire evening. So what I'll do is I'll carry them inside my garage, and then I'll just bring them back out as soon as the sun rises and it warms back up in the greenhouse, and I set them in there. If I see that the evening temperature is going to be in the 40s or warmer, I'll just leave all the seedlings in there, because there's really no risk of any kind of damage, and it saves me about 2 minutes of my time in the morning and at night. So I just wanted to give you this little tip. I think this is really superior to grow lights. You won't have to have dedicated space in your home. It's a lot cheaper in the sense that you won't have to buy the grow light equipment. You won't have to pay for the electricity. You don't have to worry about fungus gnats inside your house. You don't have to worry about that long solar acclimation period when you carry your seedlings from the indoors to the outdoors. And even if you don't have a generous backyard, you barely need any space at all to fit this thing. It is really fantastic, and it is one of the secret weapons that I use every late winter in my garden to get my seedlings off on the right start. So everybody, I wanted to keep this short and sweet and share this little garden hack for you. I really hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please hit that like button, and if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe for future updates and more videos like these. If you're curious about any of the products that I use in my garden, they're all linked in my Amazon storefront in the video description. Thank you all again so much for watching, and I hope to see all of you again on the next video. Hey Dale, do you want some raw broccoli? Oh, good boy. Let's give it a try. Dale loves his raw greens. He eats his veggies better than most people's. How was that, buddy? Maybe we can get you some kale next. Dale, come on, buddy. Let's get you some red Russian kale. Can you sit? Sit. There you go, buddy. Oh, he loves his kale. He likes the stalks. He strips the leaves off, and he is an expert at it. He's a big fan of the kale stalks.